Hey everyone, how's it going? It is 8 a.m. here on the wharf once again, Wednesday, September 7th. Hope you're all doing fantastic. It's a little noisy because the barge is here, so I'll try and talk up a little bit. Today is a good day so far. Just really busy, got a lot of things to do today. Between now and like 3 o'clock, I got a ton to do. Tonight, about 4 o'clock, we're going to have feast at our house. For those of you who don't know, the Baha'i calendar is divided into 19 months of 19 days. Every 19 days, the Baha'i community gets together and we pray, we deepen, we consult, we talk about things in the activities in the community, the affairs of the community, and we eat some grub sometimes, and we hang out. So that's tonight, and that's at my house and Ruhi's house, our house. And so looking forward to that. Should have some nice folks coming over, hang out. But besides that, I have a lot of schoolwork and a lot of work to do. So today I wanted to talk a bit about stress, because it's something I see people experiencing. I experienced it myself. I was thinking about stress and where it comes from. And ultimately, I think stress, this is my opinion of course, I'm not a psychologist, I didn't study stress, so I don't know. But stress seems to come from uncertainty. You feel stressed out when you're uncertain about something. And there's two types of uncertainty. There's the type of uncertainty you have control over, and there's the type of uncertainty you don't have control over. For example, with school, if you're working on an assignment, you're uncertain what the outcome of that assignment is. You don't know if you'll write a good paper, or you don't know if you'll do a good job on the homework. But you have control over that outcome. You can put out your best effort and do your best and try your hardest and focus all your energy on that. So one way to combat the stress you feel from the uncertainty of things you have control over is by doing your best effort towards those things. And I mean, that's all you can do. You can do your best, and that's about it, right? So try your hardest and put your energy into that, and sort of stress will start to slowly go away sometimes. So so that's the stress about things that you have control over. And I found that the best way to combat that is to just take ownership, take responsibility, work your hardest, do your best effort, and usually the end result is something that you can at least be okay with, if not happy with, or if not proud of. So that's one thing. The second type is of uncertainty is the type you don't have control over the outcome. So, for example, you've done your best work on this homework. Once you finished it, you turn it in. Now it's out of your control. It's up to the teacher to decide whether or not you get a good grade. And that can be stressful because you're not certain what the end result will be. Although, if you've done a really good job, you can be fairly confident that you did a good job and that you'll get a good result. And that will reduce the stress of the things you don't have control over. So it's about preparation. The better you can prepare yourself for the unknown or the things you don't have control over, the less stress you'll feel about those things. So, you know, they say the devil's in the details, and there's some other quote about preparation that I'm sure you've heard of that I can't remember. But that basic idea here is that do your best work, take ownership of things, and submit the ideal end result you can. And then the other thing is that, okay, so when you have something that you don't have control over, you're waiting for a result on something, how do you combat that stress? Well, again, the first part is if you've done your due diligence ahead of time, then that will help relieve stress. But the other side is that you just have to let the end result go. Once you've done all the best things you can do, it's in someone else's hands. You no longer have ownership of that, which means you should no longer take emotional ownership of that thing. You don't have control over it. It's not within your bailiwick, within your realm, your sphere of influence, to worry about something that you have no control over. I was thinking in terms of the future. And when you're planning for the future, when you're thinking about things down the line that you want to have happen, there are factors outside of your control in the future, and there are factors within your control in the future. And when you're planning for the future, the only actions you can really take are those things that you have control over, right? Focus on those things. And it can be really stressful when you start to make assumptions, or you start to think that, oh, such and such is going to happen, and you start planning for things that you don't have control over. So that's essentially gambling in a way, right? So what is gambling? Gambling is taking an action and investing energy, time, money, whatever, into a result that you have no control over. That's dangerous because you don't have control over it. It's much better use of your time, energy, and money to put it into things that you do have control over and that you can affect a change on. Let's say you're applying for a job. If you're applying for a job and you do your best work, going in for the interview, you've done your due diligence, you've done your research, you know the answers to any questions that might come up, you have a great resume, you've researched the person you're talking to, you know about them and their family, you got everything down, you're like totally set for this interview, and you do a great job on the interview, you nail the interview. Ultimately, the decision about whether or not you get that job is up to the other person. So for you to go and then start making plans for what you're going to do when you get that job, and what you're going to do with the money you're going to get, and what you're going to do when you get the company car, and all these plans you start making for this job that you don't have yet, it's sort of futile, right? So there's no point to do that when you have no control over the outcome. Yeah, you might get the job and you might not get the job, but you don't have control over that. So the only things you can do on a daily basis, instead of making plans for, when I get this job, these are all the things I'm going to do, and you start even investing time and energy and money into things based on that result, and if you don't get that result, then what happens to all this effort, energy, money, time that you spent? It's lost forever, right? So it's better to spend that time, energy, and money on things that you have that are applicable in your daily life that you can take care of or do something about right now. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to focus my energy and my time and everything on the things that I have control over in my life. So instead of thinking, oh, if this client, see, that happens a lot with client work, right? You'll make a proposal and you'll think it's a great proposal, and you've done all your work and you think it's awesome, and they even love the proposal. That's a great proposal, but you don't know if you get the job yet. You can't start making plans based on whether or not you have that job, whether or not the client comes in, whether or not you get the money from that job. If you start saying, okay, I'm going to get that job for sure, so I'm going to put down, I'm going to write this, sign up for this cell phone plan or something like that, and then it's going to cost this much money, but I'll get the job, so I'll be able to pay for that, no problem. No, you don't know that. You wait until you actually have the job, and then you can figure out what to do with that money. But you don't plan for that money from that job until you actually have it, right? Otherwise, it's setting yourself up for a really bad situation. So with my client work, with my school work, with everything I'm doing, I really try to focus on two things. One, I focus on the work that I can do right now, trying to do the best job I can, make the best effort I can, and be excellent in what I'm doing, like Bill and Ted. And the other thing is that I don't make plans for things that haven't actually happened. I don't plan on results that haven't manifested themselves, because that's wasted time and energy on my part, and money if I invest any money into that. So I try to really focus on putting my time, energy, and money into things that I have direct control over, right? So instead of thinking about, oh, I'm going to get, $2,000 from this potential client over here, instead I think, okay, right now I have $1,000 in the bank. What can I do with that $1,000? What's the best use of that money right now in my life? Where can I invest that on groceries, rent, whatever it is? And think about that. Instead of thinking about this money I might get from this job or this client, because I don't have that money from that job or client, so there's no point in anticipating it or thinking about what that will be for me. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. So something I've been thinking about last day or two, and that I'm going to try to focus on being a little more cognizant and aware of I say that word a lot, cognizant. I'm going to try to really make an effort, because sometimes I find myself planning ahead on things that I have no control over, and it doesn't do me any good in the long run. So I'm going to really focus on what I have now, what the reality of my situation is. I can hope for great things to happen, but I have to plan for the worst case scenario, not the best case scenario. If you plan for the best case scenario, then bad things will end up happening because you've shortchanged yourself. You plan for the worst case scenario. When those great things happen, then you're doing awesome. Then you can take advantage of that situation. And this is nothing about being positive or negative. You can have a positive attitude in life and still plan for the worst case scenario and still be prepared for bad things to happen. But it doesn't mean you have a negative attitude. So a lot of people think that those things are combined one together, right? That, oh, if you're planning for the worst case, that means you have a negative attitude. But that's not the case. I have a positive attitude about life. I'm very happy about my life, and I love where things are and where things are going. But at the same time, I have to plan for the worst possible thing that might happen so that I'm protected from that and protect myself and my family from those things, right? And if the best case scenario happens, that's awesome. And I can prepare myself and do my due diligence and work hard and do the best I can do for that to happen. But that doesn't mean that it's going to happen, right? So that's what I'm trying to do for myself. Really try to just put my best effort forward, not worry as much about the results, and just focus on the moment, focus on the zen of the now and the present moment and what I can do in this moment to be the best me I can be. And the future will unravel the way it's supposed to unravel. I have no control over that. And the past is done, it's finished, but I have control over this moment right now. And this moment is where I'm going to put my energy, my time, and my effort. Because this moment right now is what I can affect change on, both for myself and for the world around me. So that's it. That's it for today. A little bit of a rant, I guess, but that's what this whole thing's about, right? Just sharing my thoughts with the vastness of the internet. And that's it. So it's a beautiful day here. A little overcast, but it's kind of cool, so it's nice, right? You get some sun peeking through. And yeah, I had a nice little swim out to the dock, and I came back, and you can see right here, there's a shower head. So you swim in the salt water, but you come off, you can rinse off, and it's all good. And it's really refreshing, I gotta say. It's really nice to come out here and do this. So, second morning in a row, I might try and keep this up. And it's also a good chance for me I go out on the dock and sort of meditate, pray, think about stuff, and that's usually when I come up with what I want to say on the video. And then I just come out here, rinse myself off, dry off, and then talk to the video, have my coffee tea, my toffee, my key, I don't know what I'm gonna call it. And it's nice. So 12 minutes in, 13 minutes, time to go. Hope you all have an awesome Wednesday. Happy Feast of Izat, which means might, like the might of God. And take care of yourselves, be happy, be good, and keep on keeping on. See ya.